I did an event with Palmer Luckey, actually, friend of the pod recently.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah. We actually had a nice debate/discussion on Ukraine. But the thing that I think we agree with is that the U.S. better bring more innovation into military-industrial complex and figure out like procurement, because our whole cost-plus system right now is so broken. There was an article recently in the New York Times where it said that the cost to the United States of producing an artillery shell is $6,000. For Russia, it's $600. In other words, it costs the U.S. 10 times what it costs Russia to produce an artillery shell, even though Russia is considered to be this super corrupt kleptocracy where everyone steals everything. And yet our procurement system is 10 times more efficient than theirs.
We don't have competition and all the politicians are captured, correct?
We have this cost plus accounting system where every year the price goes up.
A good opportunity to explain that, yeah.
So in every other part of technology, price goes down over time, right? You can produce more of something for less. We've seen this with Tesla. We've seen it with PCs. We've seen it with television sets. Whatever it is, the price goes down over time.
Servers.
Yeah, or if the price goes up, it's because you've developed some fundamentally new capability, some new version,
more powerful chips, more storage.
Exactly.
Faster speed.
But, we're still making the same artillery shells, the same Stinger missiles, the same javelins and so forth. I don't think the capabilities have changed that much, but the price goes up every year because it's cost plus. And so...
Explain cost plus. People might be hearing that for the first time.
Most companies sell something and then they have a profit margin. But
right.
The way that government procurement works is the profit margin is controlled. They're only allowed to mark it up a certain amount above their cost. But the thing that's happened in the defense industry is there's been huge consolidation over the past couple of decades where now you've got a handful of defense companies and it's an oligopoly. And many of these key armaments are single source, so there's only one producer, and they just keep raising the price every year. Now, one of the kind of crazy things about this is, and Palmer made this point, is it's not like anyone's getting rich because of cost plus. It's not like the money is basically making these companies inordinately
There's no incentive
profitable
to lower the price. If you lower the price and you're at 10% and you got your $6,000 down to $4,000, 10% of $4,000 is a lot less than 10% of $6,000.
What's happening is not
perverse incentive.
Google-like margins. What's happening is that these companies keep building their bureaucracies bigger and bigger. So they hire lots of staff. They make a lot of campaign contributions. They fund think tanks. And so their cost structure just keeps getting more and more bloated.
Right. They're incentivized to do that. The more they charge, the more they make.
Right. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, we're in a situation now where Israel might be on the precipice of, they've declared war against Gaza, and this thing could spiral out of control and become a regional war. They may be asking for weapons. We've already donated some. However, earlier this year, we used to have an ammunition stockpile in Israel. The United States did. It belonged to us, but it was there potentially in case of a problem in the region. And that artillery stockpile was basically taken and given to Ukraine. And remember, we ran out of the key type of ammunition in the Ukraine war, which is 155 millimeter artillery shells. That's why we gave them cluster bombs. So the U.S. is already dangerously low on ammunition. And that's before we get potentially another war or another front in this larger global conflagration that's happening.
Another country's war. And to be clear, we're not at war, but we've been asked to donate weapons to Ukraine, and we've been asked to donate weapons. I think Israel have asked for weapons.
I think there's a bill making its way through right now that's going to give some aid to military assistance to Israel. By the way,
builder of weapons too. I mean, their drone technology is incredibly refined, and they sell weapons to Russia. And folks.
Israel's nowhere near the Ukraine situation. Ukraine is 100% dependent on the United States for its military and for its economy. Israel has a vibrant military and economy without the United States. But the United States does make long-term security guarantees to Israel, not to fight its wars. There's no mutual defense treaty. However, we do agree to provide them with weapons in the event of a war. So we do have obligations, like longstanding obligations to them. This is an ally we've had for 75 years. However, our stockpiles are dangerously depleted now because of the Ukraine war. And on top of that, our procurement system is hopelessly broken. In a world of rising multipolarity, where there are other great powers now in the system, where there are going to be more and more global threats, I don't think we have a chance of maintaining our global position and supporting our allies unless we fix this. I mean, making artillery shells at 10 times more than what it costs Russia, that's ridiculous.
In Silicon Valley, we have now the funding of military startups, and there's a whole new class of warfare, supersonics, drones.
Innovation is the only advantage we have. It's the only advantage
that it's happening, right? I mean, this is one of the great things. I mean, I understand Palmer is not a huge fan of mine, but I'm a huge fan of the work he's doing and other entrepreneurs are doing to make new weapons to keep us competitive, because you can be sure China's making them. And so I think it's absolutely fantastic. I thought it was always very weird that Google, speaking of work madrasas, like Google employees were refusing to provide services, like even basic cloud hosting services to the military, to benefit from democracy and living in America while then not supporting the military. Just seemed like the ultimate luxury belief, to use Rob's term from the All-In Summit.